We move on from the IDP issue for the moment, but we'll come back to it later on in the program, and with a twist. From Martin Luther King Jr. and Rosa Parks to Che Guevara to President Obama's youth-driven presidential campaign of 2008, the world's young people have consistently pushed for change and progress throughout history. In this respect, however, Asia appears to lag behind. Youth movements are not taken seriously enough by authorities, and as a result, young people have very little say in important matters pertaining to their respective countries. Another worrying side effect is that many members of the younger generation are now reluctant to get involved because they feel they will not be heard. In our next story, we take a look at an Asian youth organization trying to remedy this by promoting greater youth participation. A chance for youth from different countries to mix and mingle, to hear from speakers their own age, to be promised by authority figures that their voice will be heard. This event, organized by the Sri Lankan arm of the Asian Youth Network, the Lanka Youth Organization Network, was held recently to mark the beginning of a 4-day workshop on youth participation and held much promise for the young people involved.
We all came from different backgrounds with different culture and different political situation. But nevertheless, part of our realization in Asian Youth Network is in spite of all these differences, we believe that we can still make a difference and we can still make change. And in Asian Youth Network, we believe that diversity is a strength that we can use. We believe that obstacles are challenges that we can strengthen more our work.
The event featured speakers from several political parties who spoke not about their own politics, but about the issue of youth and the importance of their contribution in matters of governance and society, a gesture that was much appreciated by many of the foreign delegates attending the ceremony. The next day saw Asian Youth Network delegates from Sri Lanka, Cambodia, the Philippines and Sweden in a secluded hotel in Athurugiria, where they would spend the next 4 days working with trainer Mariana Turkan on key issues related to youth participation. The primary day of training was mostly introductory, with sessions dedicated to hearing the delegates' ambitions and worries about their expected roles, first in the workshop and later in society at large.
Before we jump into the definitions of what youth participation is or how we perceive it, you see 2 words on each wall.
We always call for...
A large part of the day was spent defining the very meaning of youth participation and the different forms it could possibly take. Some delegates felt voting was the most important method of participation, while others disagreed. The delegates were eager to talk about their expectations of the workshop and the areas they need to work on in terms of the youth movement in their own countries.
We have like 65% of the total populations are under 30 years old. So this is a very big numbers. So that's why they play a very important role if they can include young people in the process of developments. One more thing is why it is important, because they cover the majorities of the peoples, and youth are very much potential in terms of their perspective and their abilities and educations and background and things like that.
That we agreed. In Asian Youth Network, we believe that the best and easiest way for us to be involved is to start with the community. The tendency of young people now, they go always national, they rally national, they blame the national government, they blame everything on the central. But if it sometimes begs the question, what have you done in your community? What have you done in your village? You know, you can do a lot of things in your village. You can organize waste segregation, you can organize small leadership, you can just do, you don't need to do it in the hotel, you can do it under the tree, you know. Because in a community, you know all your friends already, and we can talk, instead of just playing, maybe we can spend some time to discuss issue, for example, the rights on something that, you know. So there's no one solution, you know.
Speaking for the Lanka Youth Organization Network as its president, Aruna described the organization's main aim as creating a democratic political environment conducive for youth participation in Sri Lanka.
අපි අපේ රට නියෝජනය කරගෙන මෙතෙන්ට ආවේ අපේ ප්‍රධානම අරමුණ තමයි රටට තරුණ හිතකාමී ප්‍රතිපත්ති ගොඩනගන එක. තරුණ හිතකාමී ප්‍රතිපත්ති ගොඩනැගීමේදී අපිට ගොඩාක්ම වැදගත් වෙනවා මේ පිලිපීනේ, කාම්බෝජයේ, ස්වීඩනය වගේ රටවල තියෙන අත්දැකීම්. ඒක රටවල සාර්ථක අත්දැකීම් හුවමාරු කරගන්න තමයි අපි මේ වැඩසටහනට සහභාගී වෙන්නේ.
As a motivator of young people by profession, Mariana Turkan feels that as strong as youth organizations can be, they still need the support of those in authority to be able to really make a significant change in their countries.
I think that it's also the responsibility of the governmental or state institutions to strengthen or empower young people to participate. If they would feel that they are taken into consideration and taken seriously and their voice is heard, then they would be more motivated to come out of their shell, like somewhere around. They would be more interested in just watching a movie. Because all in all, youth NGOs are there not to only fill the gap that is missing or through the work of the governmental bodies, but are there to also raise the population's knowledge of how to be an active citizen of the country. So I think motivation should be from both sides.